What's good, YouTube? This is Bronx House Kennels. My channel is based on working on cars, making them faster, souping them up, tuning them up. It's gonna be based on guns, dog shows, breedings. I got pit bulls, bullies, Frenchies, English bulldogs, American bulldogs. I mess with nothing but the best bloodline. But on this bad boy, this is a 2009 Honda Accord Coupe. We're gonna do the intake. You have the K&N intake. We're gonna change the intake. I'm gonna turn it on like that. You can hear the difference between the factory intake compared to the new intake once I put it in, and show you step by step, and we'll go from there. Okay, YouTube. So for you to do the K&N intake, you have to get a 10mm socket. I suggest to disconnect the negative battery like that. It won't mess with the sensors. It's happened to me before. So you disconnect the negative part of the battery, and that 10mm socket is gonna work to remove this part right here and the clamps. Now, one thing I have to tell you, the K&N intake, it doesn't come, it comes with only two hose clamps. I suggest for you to get two more hose clamps because the hoses have a tendency of coming loose. So that'll be I'll recommend for you to get an extra two hose clamps to make sure you clamp everything down and make sure you never have a problem of the hoses coming loose. So let's disconnect the battery and we'll go from there. So yeah, I already disconnected the negative part of the battery. So go ahead and disconnect the sensor. Make sure you don't mess that up. Has a little clamp right here. Then you have to push down like that. It can unlock. So now we just disconnect this part, loosen this up, loosen this part of the hose, unclamp this, which is, I think it's real easy to unclamp it, and we'll go from there. So as you can see, I already took the hose part off. It was real easy to come out. All you have to do is once you loosen it up, it comes right out. This hose over here, you could loosen it up and just wiggle it out. Comes out. Just please be careful it does not fall in there, because once you let things fall in there, you're gonna have a very problem, or it falls down into your engine bay. It's gonna be a headache to get it out. Now, another thing, when you're gonna take off the sensor part, you have to be very careful that you don't damage it. So take off the sensor, you unscrew it with a Phillips screwdriver, take it off, place it, put it in a place where it's gonna be really safe, and you can start taking everything else off. Now, I have to take this part of the clamp, loosen it up, take some pliers, loosen that part up, loosen up this part up over here, and I'll show you what else you have to do from there. So as you can see, I removed the sensor. Sorry, instead I'm trying to do everything. I have only two hands, so it's kind of difficult. This is the sensor right here. You have to be very careful with this, because if you mess this up, you're gonna be in big trouble. Sensor is always gonna light up and you're gonna have problems. So just place this in a safe place where it won't get dirty or damaged or anything. And now what we're gonna do is remove those screws right there. You have one here and you have one down there. You could be able to move that, and you have to take that clamp right there. You use a flathead, pop that right out, you'll be good to go. And we'll go from there. Sorry it took me a while. It gave me kind of a headache. That's actually two clamps. There's this one and there's this one. This one was the one that was giving me more headache. And there's the one for the sensor cable. Then this wire was caught up in the filter. I don't know how the hell it got caught up in there. But there was only actually two screws. The one here and the one right there. But this is what it's supposed to look like. So now onto the taking off these hoses right here. Now this hose, once you take this off, they're gonna have a clamp that comes with the K&N Intake. You're gonna have a hose that runs from here to here. You're gonna have the clamp for that. The hose that runs from the intake tube, that runs from here to here, doesn't have a clamp. Now from here, from right there to here, doesn't have a clamp. So I suggest for you to buy a extra two clamps. I mean, it's cheap. You can buy it anywhere, hardware store, AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, and just clamp them down like that. You don't have a problem of the hoses slipping off. But to take this off is really easy. So that's the next step, and we'll go from there. Now, once you remove the valve from here, the intake valve. Now, this valve right here might be a little, excuse my French, might be a little bitch to come off, because you have to do it while the engine is cold. That's another thing I forgot to tell you. Wait for the engine to cool off. Once you take these valves off right here, they might leak out a little bit of coolant, so put a towel down, a little rag or anything like that. Once it leaks, you can catch it like that. It won't mess no wirings, or you won't leave no coolant around like that. It won't smoke or anything while your engine is running. Have a clean job done is a better job. You know what I mean? So next step is to put the bypass hose, secure the clamps, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I already put the bypass hose, so you have to make sure you tighten them down really good. Get them in there. Make sure the tube, the hose is not bent in no type of way, like pinched. Make sure it's nice and loose, you know, has like that the coolant could flow nice and good. Tighten it really tight like that, it won't come loose. Now we have to just take that bolt off the bracket like that. We could put a mount for the bracket like that. You could put the hose on, the intake hose, and then we'll go from there and finish putting on this intake, get it over with for today, and then tomorrow we'll do the projectors on the doors. Okay, you see the bracket? You had to take off this nut right here. Don't use the same nut that came with the car. Use the one that came with the K&N Intake. It's much longer. We'll have more support to it. You put that bracket on, and now we have to put on the elbow right here, and we have to put the other bracket down there, and we'll mount the hose real quick, and that's about it. Almost done. Okay, so we already mounted this bracket right here. It's really important that you remember not to use the same screws that the factory that the car came with. You have to use the tools and the screws that the kit came with, because if not, it will void your warranty. You have a life warranty with the K&N Intake, so please do not use the same screws that the car came with. Use the screws that came with the kit, because if not, if something goes wrong with the kit, you're responsible for it. So you might as well use that warranty for something. Now next step is to mount that bracket right here at the bottom, and then from there we'll just mount the hose and that's it. We're almost done. As you can see, we already did that bracket real quick. Well, sorry for the lighting. We put the bracket right here. It's like an L-shaped bracket. Sorry about the lighting. I'll try to see if I get a flashlight real quick. Okay, here we go. Now I had to get a flashlight because it's starting to get dark. So I just mounted that L bracket. Now we have to do put the base on the man flow where the intake goes to, the intake tube, and put the housing, the tube, and that's about it. Alright, go ahead and get the tube ready. Put that part in. You're gonna need what is this, 9x16 wrench. Let me see if I'm correct. Yeah, 9x16 wrench. Screw it in. I think as far as I got it to go in. Go ahead and put the rubber on the housing. You're gonna have to trim it a little. Try to push it in as much as possible if you can. Try to do the best I could, but that's as close as I could got it to. You know, you're gonna have to cut just a little bit, maybe by 5 inches, 6 inches off of the rubber for the housing, and now you just gotta align it up with the brackets that are placed right there, the elbow right there, and the long bracket over here. Let's go ahead and start mounting everything back up. Alright, we got the housing already mounted. Gotta screw it right there to that bracket over there. 2 screws over here. The screws over here is they're a little funny. You gotta get the bottom one in first. Don't tighten it all the way. Then you put the top one, tighten the top one real tight, then you tighten the bottom. Now we're gonna put the hose on, the intake hose, and you have to screw the intake hose to that bottom bracket right there. Oh, and before that, you have to put the sensor, but the sensors, the screws, in the beginning, the sensors on the original filter, on the factory filter, were Phillips screws, but on the K&N Intake, you have to use the Allen keys. Is that Allen? Yeah, Allen key screws. So we're gonna jump on that one next. All right. The hose is on. The intake hose is on. My bad. Alright, intake hose is on, housing is on. As you can see, tighten this real hard down. Tighten it as hard as you can. I mean, don't tighten it that you could bend the pipe, because then you'll be screwed. Tighten it that you know that it's not going to come out. You got to tighten it down there really hard. Tighten it up till you can't, until it won't tighten no more. Make sure the housing is really secured. Next step is to putting the intake hosing to the engine, and from there the sensor, and from there you connect the negative battery. Oh, and don't forget the filter, the most important part, and crank it on and see how it sounds. Okay, the hose is on. Take my advice. This hose is a pain in the ass. Right here, it's hard to put on, really hard to put on, especially these 2 parts. My best advice will be to put these on first, I mean, because it's really hard to put on before connecting the hose down to the clamp and tying it down. Now the next step is to put the filter, put on the clamp, put on the negative power from the battery, and turn it on. All right, everything's filter's connected. Make sure you tighten down these hoses really tight. Make sure everything is tightened down. Negative battery, negative cable to the battery is tightened down. Make sure everything is tightened. The sensor might give you a little problem connecting it flush. I have a little gap, so I'm gonna figure that out later. Had to tighten that. I had to move that from the other side. That's connected to the subwoofer in the back and the amps. But let's turn it on. See how it sounds. K&N Intake works beautifully. So that's it. That's my 2009 Honda Accord Coupe with the VTEC. It has the K&N intake. Got more horsepower. Sounds beautiful. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. I have more videos coming, doing projectors for more videos for cars, dogs, dog shows, breedings, weight pulling, sportsman shooting, whole bunch of other things. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'll show you the power of the car. Thanks.